All right. So we're starting with the agenda. We went through the brain dump and the brainstorming, and I said that I was going to select agenda because remember my main discussion is going to be workplace meeting etiquette. Okay. All right. So I said that's going to be one of my main points. I want to go out and find some research. So I went and found an article by Forbes magazine. It was written February the 5th, 2004, and it was written by Neil Hartman. And Neil Hartman is MIT Sloan School of Management. And in this article, it's the 7 steps to running the most effective meetings possible. And Hartman says that you have to create an agenda. And in that agenda, you have to, for each topic you're going to talk about that you will discuss in that agenda, you need to know how many minutes you will be discussing that. So you might be discussing how to add $10,000 to the budget, and you are going to give that 30 minutes. And you're not talking about it after 30 minutes. You're moving on to the next agenda item. Hartman also says the agenda should be emailed to the meeting members in advance. It didn't say how much in advance, but in advance. This way, it gives the meeting members, they know what's going to be talked about. They can come prepared with information. And then Hartman also says that while the meeting is going on, it should be put on the big screen. So if you have a PowerPoint, you want to pop it up on the PowerPoint, or you have one of those imaging pieces of technology in the room, but somehow, or if you don't have that, you can use one of these great big, sticky wall stickies here and put the agenda there so that everyone knows where you are on the agenda. It's extremely visible. Now, all that information was from the Forbes magazine, February 5th, 2004, by Neil Hartman, MIT School of Management. I also found another article by Adobe. Adobe writes a lot of articles, and this article was how to run meetings like Apple and Google. I thought that was pretty interesting. Uh, um, Both Adobe and Forbes are credible institutions, organizations that I still read their information to make sure I think that information is credible. So, How to Run Meetings Like Apple and Google by Sean Blonda. And Sean Blonda says all meetings must have an agenda and there should be a start and stop time. Now, this right here is information that Forbes didn't have in its article. And so Adobe is giving me some new information. So if our meeting starts at noon and ends at 2, then I need to have that on the agenda. That our meeting starts at noon and ends at 2, and that we start at 2, that we start at noon and we absolutely end at 2 o'clock. So there's a lot more in the article as well, but this is what they had to say specifically about agendas because that's the main point I'm talking about right now when it comes to workplace meeting etiquette. Now then, these two are the pieces of research that I will probably use to talk about this main point of needing an agenda for meetings so that we can have workplace meeting etiquette. And what I could also do is to show an example of an Apple agenda, and if I can get a hold of a Google one, a Google agenda as well. The Adobe article goes on to talk more about Google's agendas, and they have, just by reading it, like high-powered agendas. These are working agendas. If an idea doesn't get fleshed out during that agenda meeting, kill it. Yeah, I mean, that's what it said in the article, just kill it. So I might find me an example I have an Apple agenda and a Google agenda so that I can put it on the big screen and show people. Okay, so I have one piece of research, two pieces of research, and have an example. And what does the text have to say? Does the text in class that I'm reading, or is there a book? I say text because you all have a textbook. What does the text say about agendas as well? Okay, so this is the main point. This is the main point right here. Research, research, example, and the text. This right here, when you summarize all of this, I know everyone's worried about timing, but when you have research and you have examples, and you might even talk about a personal example as well, you fill your time for one main point. These are the elements that actually go into a main point. Research, examples, information about texts. Are a whole bunch of other options. I'm just giving you something simple to follow. This is just a very simple structure for you to follow. So this is still just rough draft, working it through, because I might want to put this as the first part of the information, and I might want to put the example up above, maybe move Forbes down here. Or I might want to move the information about the textbook all the way up to the front, and then move into research, and then into example, and then into another piece of research. This is why I say it's like organizing a puzzle. You organize this information by the way you think the audience members will best catch your public message. Will they best catch your public messages by you first saying, you know what, I did some research and found in Forbes magazine. It's kind of powerful. It's also powerful because this person here, MIT alone, highly credible, but from the Sloan School of Management, where they study business meetings and study how everything about management, that's impressive as well. Okay, so then what you would do is one of these for each main point. You would do one of these for each main point, your research, your example, and your text information. Those are the components of each main point.